This is a food packet long range patrol. This just so happens to be menu number 2, chili con carne. This particular one is from the early to mid 80s, I do believe. The food packet long range patrol was originally developed during the Vietnam War. They were designed for use by special operations troops that needed a compact and lightweight ration for missions where they were going behind enemy lines. At the time, their other option would have been a C ration, and although the size of the LRP versus the C ration is very close, the weight is significant. The C ration, of course, has these large canned products that increase the weight by quite a bit, whereas the long range patrol consists mainly of a freeze-dried main entree that you actually add water to rehydrate, so this weighs almost nothing. Compared to the size of a regular brown bag MRE, you can see it is quite a bit smaller than that brown bag MRE is, and the weight again is a significant difference. This probably weighs, I'd say, a third of what this does. The LRP has been around forever. They were developed in 1964, right in the middle of the Vietnam War, and they have remained in service to this very day. This is a modern LRP. I believe this one is from 2016. I still don't know the exact date of this particular one, so let's go ahead and cut into it and see what we have inside. I'm gonna make an incision in the bottom because I plan to keep this bag. All right, let's pull these contents out. Everything came out in just one little bundle there. Seems extremely simple. We have one of the old foil accessory packs, and we have the main entree. That's the only thing contained within the bag. Looks like this main entree was taped shut at some point with masking tape, but that has lost its adhesive over the years, and it has a very thin cardboard type paper wrapper on the outside. Underneath the main, there was a pack of toilet paper. It looks like this is the blue kind, a tiny MCI style spoon, and our main entree itself, which is vacuum sealed. Seal still feels good on it. There's a little code down on the bottom, but that does not look like a date code to me. There's a little bit of delamination going on this OD green package. This is chili con carne, dehydrated cooked. It has a caution on there that the inner bag is open on one side, remove it carefully. Tear bag open, add 1/2 canteen cup of hot or cold water. Let soak for 5 minutes, add more water if desired. May be eaten dry. If these are eaten dry, you're supposed to consume an adequate amount of water to go along with it, so you don't actually dehydrate yourself. This has a little tear notch. We'll go ahead and use that. That has a very chemical plastic smell and a smell of that of old chocolate. That contains a 1.5 ounce coconut candy bar in a wax paper. The paper packaging on this is looking really good. We have a pack of instant coffee type 1. It still feels like it's in powder form. A matte OD green pack of matches with red tips, another coffee instant type 1, a 6-gram pack of sugar, and a cream substitute dry non-dairy 4 grams, also in powder form. So that's our contents. I looked everything over really well and couldn't find anything that I thought was a date code. There is one little 4-digit code at the bottom of the pack here, 9051, which would put this at being a 1979, which I suppose could be a possibility, but I'm not gonna go along with that because I don't know for sure. The food packet long range patrol was originally designed as a controlled calorie 24-hour ration. So there is a possibility that a soldier that was going on a patrol mission behind enemy lines during Vietnam might only have this amount of food and 2 coffees to sustain themselves for a 24-hour period. I think it's about time to open this main entree up and see if it's held up over all these years. We'll try that tear notch. I didn't hear any hiss. There's the internal bag. It doesn't smell like food. It smells like chemicals, like plastic. Feels a little bit greasy in there. So there's our internal container. It's a clear plastic with a little cardboard insert on the bottom to give it rigidity so it can kind of stand up on its own. The chili in there looks extremely powdery. We can still tell there's some beans and some little chunks of meat. Break this up a little bit so it has an easier time rehydrating. Looks like I have a little chunk of beef here. I'm gonna try that dry just by itself. Holy crap. Well, that piece was absolutely perfect. Man, that was good too. Has a little bit of that chili flavoring. You can tell it's beef. It's freeze-dried, so it's crunchy. Whoa, that was good stuff. Very reminiscent of what Mountain House is producing today. Of course, this is produced by Oregon Freeze Dried, which is Mountain House. Well, that's got me very excited. This main did call for 1/2 of a canteen cup, which should be about 12 ounces. I just got this water off the boil, and I have what looks like about 10 or 11 ounces, which I think will probably be enough. Oh yeah. Right away, that's smelling good. Stir that in, try to get all those corners. Oh man, that's looking great. Add just a little another splash of that water to it. Check that out. All right, so we'll fold this over so it can retain some of its heat and slide it back in the 4-line pouch for better insulation. It says it takes 5 minutes to rehydrate. I'll probably give it a little bit closer to 10. Let's grab the tray so we can take a look at all this other stuff. So we got everything laid out. There's certainly not a lot of food for a whole day. Let's get the coffee going while the water's still nice and hot. Look at one of these packs of Coffee Instant Type 1. It's looking perfect in there. It's a very fine grain, spray dry. Add that to the glass. It has a hard time coming out of the pack. Man, that has a great smell. It actually smells like coffee. Oh yeah. With that, I'm gonna do a full 6-gram sugar pack. That sugar's in perfect shape. The granules are a little bit larger than today's sugar. Add that in. I'll check out this creamer substitute, dry non-dairy, and see if it's still worth consuming. It's nice and white. A lot of times it'll turn sort of a yellow tinge. Wet my pinky and stick it in there. Let's taste that, see if it's any good. Okay, get another taste. I don't think it's bad. Non-dairy creamer doesn't have the best flavor by itself anyway, but I don't detect anything weird with that at all. I guess we'll go ahead and add that in as well. I have 8 ounces of water. Give that a quick stir. I'm gonna taste this as is. If it's a little bit weak, I'll add that 2nd pack of coffee to it. All of that dissolved very quickly, and the creamer really lightened the coffee up. It's a very pale color. Now that is good. It's sweet due to that sugar. The creamer has not imparted any weird flavors to it or anything. All I'm tasting is the coffee. Coffee Instant Type 1 has a very distinct bitterness to it, but not in a bad way. I'm not detecting much acidity, but maybe just a little bit. I could seriously just drink that whole thing right now. As far as instant ration coffee goes, I'd say that's gotta be one of the better ones. Let's take a look at this coconut candy bar. Very thin wax paper it's wrapped in. A little bit cracked looking. There's varying colors in the chocolate. Some parts are a little darker, some parts are a little lighter, but it looks pretty dang good otherwise. Let's smell of it. Has a coconut smell, but it's like coconut mixed with plastic. There's a look at the cross section. Almost looks like the inside of a Reese's cup. Of course, there's no peanut butter involved with this. Yeah, it smells like old plastic and chocolatey coconut. I think I'll save that for my dessert. Since we still got a couple minutes to burn, let's burn one of these matches, see if they still light. A little red tip in our striker. On the first go, it lit up nice. And let's take a look at this blue toilet paper. So it comes with a little outside wrapper that holds everything together. It's not Lighthouse brand, so that's a little bit different. Tear this little paper wrapper off. It looks like it's individual sheets. Yep, just individual sheets of blue tissue. Doesn't smell like anything in particular, just sort of a old plasticky smell like the rest of this ration. They give you a fair amount of sheets in there. It looks like at least 10 or 15. Let's pull this main out and give it a stir. See how it's doing. It's plumped up quite nice. Seems a little thick, but this is actually the way I prefer my chili. I don't like really soupy, runny chili. I like it more of a stew consistency. I think there's gonna be some unreconstituted parts of it, but all in all, it's gonna be pretty good. Let's try it out and see if it's still crunchy or not. I'm gonna start with a big old spoonful. It's perfect right now. Let's go ahead and pour this out into the tray here. Pretty much all of it just came out in one big blob. Now that does not appear to be that appetizing. It sort of looks like a burrito filling, like some refried beans or something. It's very thick for a chili. That's a big main though. It fills that section of the tray all the way up. So in this, we have some pieces of bean. There's some very tiny flakes of meat pretty much mixed in with the sauce. I can see some parts that are not completely reconstituted. There's a little bit of dry chili powder throughout, and it looks like a couple beans are still on the crunchy side, but other than that, it is looking pretty good. This main is not all beef. It actually has some vegetable protein in it as well. Let's get another large spoonful of this and see if we can figure out what this stuff tastes like. When you run into the beef, you can tell it has a little bit of chew to it. It's not crunchy, but you can pick its texture up separate from everything else. There's no spiciness to this whatsoever. And what seasonings it does have are very light. Of course, it has chili powder in it. There's a little bit of a garlicky undertone, a little bit oniony. I would say it's almost bland, but it's not really because it doesn't need salt. It has a decent sodium content, it tastes like. That last bite had a bean that was a little bit crunchy. Those chunks of meat, though, are delightful. They actually feel like real pieces of muscle fiber, as if you were eating a steak almost or something. I love how thick and hearty this is. It's about 2 in the afternoon, and I haven't eaten anything yet today before this, so it's safe to say that I've worked up quite the appetite, which is the way that I try to go into most of my reviews, on an empty stomach, like the guys in the field would most likely be when they're consuming a meal like this. And being extremely hungry, this is going down awesome. I can just imagine how comforting this would be for a soldier that's been on their feet all day, burning massive amounts of calories. I could just keep devouring this, and I'm going to eat every last drop of this. This is fantastic. Not in that It's an amazing flavor, but this is completely 100% preserved in perfect condition. I'm assuming this is exactly what it would have tasted like the day it was made. Freeze-dried food is pretty amazing in that way. As long as it keeps its vacuum seal, man, this stuff lasts forever. The only thing I would do to make it a little better is add some hot sauce to it. Let's get another sip of our coffee. Killed that one off. But the last thing to check out on this very interesting ration is our coconut chocolate candy bar. Let's dive right in and take a bite of that. Now that is weird. That has a very distinct chemical flavor. And surprisingly enough, you can still tell that this is coconut. It even has that sort of coconut bite that a lot of people don't like. The chocolate's fairly thick, and it's a waxy, heat-stable top chocolate. It has that very distinct ration chocolate flavor, which I've actually grown accustomed to. As far as the edible quality of this goes, I'm gonna say it's 100% edible. I'm not feeling any numbness in my mouth, no burning or tingling. The flavor's just a little weird, but this is completely edible. I'm gonna finish this bar off too. One last bite of that half. Well, holy crap. Literally everything in this ration was as close to perfect as I could have possibly wished for. This was a fantastic experience for me. Food packet, long range patrol, chili con carne, menu number 2. Most likely nearing 40 years old and basically perfect. As soon as this camera turns off, I'm gonna finish every last bite of this. What an awesome experience. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This has been Ration Rewind, the series in which I'm reposting my old ration reviews from my first YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to help it out with that Google algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to catch all of my future ration content. This is the one-stop shop for MRE related content, old and new, foreign and domestic, military and commercial. We do it all here on Readiness Rations. Be sure to drop me a comment and check out my social links down in the description of this video. And I will be back with a new video for you guys next week. Until then, I will catch you in the next video. See you then. Peace.